Hi, this video is a continuation of a previous video that I've recorded. So it's for people who haven't used Excel before and now find they need to use it. This is for absolute beginners or people that have little experience. If you are more experienced with Excel, check out some of my other videos, which go into more complex or trickier functions and uses of Excel. This is really for a beginner. So I'm just going to continue where I dropped off. So that, as I mentioned, this is video number 3. There's another 2 videos. Just check them out in the video content. So in the previous videos, we looked at a number of things. I'm just going to recall or go back over one thing that I've covered already because it's so important, and it's basically the save function. So if you need to save a file that you're working on, and I recommend saving whatever file you're working on, just save it immediately because there's nothing worse than losing a lot of work, and it can happen. You might lose connection to your network, various different reasons. So always make sure that you're saving your documents. Now you'll notice here I've got an autosave function that's enabled. That is a great option for people, but that does work with Microsoft Office and your OneDrive. So depending on your configuration, that may or may not be an option for you. But to cover off, so if I click on File, I've got an option here, save a copy, and I just select that. The save a copy is because I've already saved this document. Excel knows I've saved it, and it's saying, do you want to save another copy of it? I also have the option up here. You can see this icon, which is the save icon. I can select that. And then finally, I can hit Control and S, which gives me the save option as well. So that's a hotkey for saving. So just want to cover all of that first and foremost. So already in my previous video, I have done our formatting. So clipboard, I've covered our font, alignment, numbers. We spoke a little bit about conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is a more advanced feature of Excel. I do cover it in another video, so I'm not going to touch on that today. The next thing I'd like to talk about is just styling, and styling is something that some people use or would be familiar with, other people aren't. So just to give you a quick example of what that looks like, if I just click on a cell here, you can see the default is normal. If I put a neutral styling on it, it's going to change it. If I put a good styling on it, it'll change it as well. And really all that's happening there is Excel is just putting various different colors on it. It's as simple as that. If I want to get rid of a styling, I just select normal. So that gets rid of it. And I can also toggle down here. So once I hit the down arrow, I do have lots of more styles. So this is something you can play around with. You can just have a look at it. So say, for example, I'm building out a report. I might want to use the headers. So if I select that, you can see Excel is quite dynamic. So as soon as I hover over that, it shows me a kind of a preview almost of what that would look like. So that's a header format there. So I'm just going to go to my undo style here, and that will just remove it. So that's your styling. Worth playing around with it. There's lots of different options there, and you can just see what works for the report that you're producing. So in the titles and headers, you can see that the first couple are titles, but you'd also have a total option there, which is a nice option. And that's just going to make that total a little bit more visible for the user. So if you're sharing this report with a colleague or you're producing a report for someone else, it is a nice idea to put those features in because it just draws the eye to something that's important within your report. So you can see there that that number that I've put the formatting on, it's really standing out. You can see it quite clearly. So just something to consider if you want to emphasize or draw attention to a specific number in the report that you're producing. Next, we look at cells. So this is something that if you're using Excel, you're going to use this every day. So you've got your insert functions, you've got your delete functions, and you've got your formatting functions. So let's just give an example of what that means. So if I select, and you'll see the first thing that I'm doing is I'm telling Excel, where do I want to apply this? So I've selected columns and rows 13, select insert. And what Excel has done is it's just added a line there. If I undo that, gets rid of the line, insert it again. Now, if I wanted to delete that line, so I've put it in the wrong place, I just select delete and gets rid of that line. So that's basically very simple what it does. Another thing just to be aware of, if I don't select the whole line and I select insert, it just puts in a cell. So that's something just to be careful of, because often you won't want to just put in a cell, you'll want to put in a row because you're putting another data set in. So just to be aware of that, I'd be careful of that. And similarly, if I delete that, it pulls the cell back up. So just something to be aware of. The other thing that you have an option on doing is if you select the down arrow here, it shows you visibly what you're doing. So do you want to insert a cell? Do you want to insert a sheet row? Do you want to insert a column? So that's quite helpful. So when you're getting used to this function, you might want to just select the down arrow and then get a prompt on what's going to happen. Similarly with your formatting, if you select the down arrow, it'll show you what your options are. So you've got some formatting around the row height, the column width. You can also rename the sheet. So can do quite a bit here. So that's quite a nice option for people. And then the next thing that we can look at is editing. So what we're going to look at, so if I just go down to the bottom of my sheet and I go to AutoSum, what you'll notice there, when I select that AutoSum, Excel is making a couple of decisions here. So the first decision it's making is what information am I summing, or what information am I interested in totaling? So what I'll do is I'll just go back up to the top of that column and I can see it's taking column that I'm in. It's selecting that data and it's going from the very top cell, which is E2, all the way down to the bottom. If I return, then it'll total that. If I want to see what's included in that function, I can see here, I can look up at this stage and I can see E2 to E2 to E154. If I click on F2, that will open up that cell and I can just see it. And I can also now make a change. So if I wanted, I could just bring that back to E150. And now it's not selecting everything. When I do that, you'll notice that Excel is prompting me here. It's giving me a little warning symbol. And it's saying this formula references a range, has additional numbers adjacent to it. So Excel is saying, do you want to take those numbers beside it into this formula, or are you happy with that? And it's just for information. You don't have to do anything with that, but just to be aware, that's what Excel is prompting you to do. So that's a sum if. We've got a fill option here, so it can fill down, left, right. That's actually quite powerful, so it is. And it's something you might want to do if you're working with a big data range and you want to pull the data across, then that fill option is quite helpful. And then clear, so you can clear formats, content, or hyperlinks. So again, this is quite helpful if you've got a format in a cell, you've copied that cell down, you don't like that formatting for the next cell, you can just clear the formatting. So that's the clear. Then you've got your sort and filter. So you'll notice here that I've got filters on already. So if I select this icon here, that'll get rid of the filters. And then what I can do is I can sort and filter. So if I select filter, puts the filters back on. So just a handy way from the home page to be able to add your filters. And then finally, you've got search and select, or find and select. So that's an option you can find. So if I'm looking for a specific, so Newcastle. So you can see there, Excel is finding Newcastle within that data set. So that's how you find something. You do have the option also to replace. So if I wanted to find a piece of text and replace it with another piece of text, I can use that find and replace function. So that's pretty much everything that you would cover in your home ribbons. So a lot of information there. So I'm just going to leave it there. Hopefully that was of help. As I mentioned, there are another 2 videos, basic introduction videos, which cover the other activities that you have on the home ribbon. So do have a look at them. Hopefully you found the video helpful. If you did, like, if you are interested in Excel content, that's what this channel is all about. So do subscribe. You'll get notifications when a new video is loaded. And if there's something specific you'd like to know about within Excel, just put it in the comments. I'll pick that up and I can create a video on that. Okay, thank you very much.